Omaran Aspirational International Synergy (Oasis) is the first mobility project developed under the auspices of Ungku Omar College, bringing forth the Malaysian culture onto an international stage. Oasis have been to several countries, which are
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, our program will be starting soon. Please scan the QR code to register your attendance. If you are not able to scan, there is a link given down in the chat box below and you can register your attendance there. We will begin soon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, our program will be starting soon. Please scan the QR code to register your attendance. If you are not able to scan, there is a link given down in the chat box below where you can register your attendance. We will begin soon shortly.
keseluruhan kes COVID-19 di Malaysia telah melepasi angka 1.5 juta.
We have new confirmed cases standing at 1,983 cases.
Kita lihat hari ini ada penambahan kasus COVID-19 yang mencapai 8.369.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. Before the event starts, I would like to remind all the guests here to mute your microphone and turn on the camera throughout the event today. Besides that, please ensure that your internet connection is stable enough so that you can get the best experience out of this program. If you have any questions regarding our topic in discussion, please drop the questions below in the chat box. The questions will be answered by our panelists during the Q&A session. Your cooperation is deeply appreciated. To our guests of honor, panelists from Permitha Chulalongkorn University, Mr. Triyuda Putra and Mr. Ismail Dwi Putra. Next, Airlangga Students Executive Board in Universitas Airlangga, the Directorate General of External Affairs, Ms. Zulfa Anida, and the Minister of External Affairs, Mr. Ramadan Pambayang Halfani, Student Council of Chulalongkorn University, Vice President of Foreign Affairs Committee, Ms. Rawikan, and Foreign Affairs Committee, Ms. Nurchpon Palmi, and our panelists from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, International and Foreign Affairs Committee of College Ungku Omar, Ms. Charina Anak Perempuan Amnoy, and Ms. Nur Koyum binti Muhammad Helmi. To our respected supervisor, Ms. Siti Farhani binti Muhammad Adnan, Fellow in College Ungku Omar, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, respected fellows and Student Executive Council of College Ungku Omar, and our beloved local and international audience. My name is Danish Ofahmi, and on behalf of the Intellects Unite Committee, I will be your moderator for today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Intellects Unite. We appreciate you taking your time off your busy schedules to join us today. Praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have been graced by the chance to gather in this momentous discussion. Before we move on, I would like to call upon Mr. Danish Han for the recitation of Doa.
Thank you, Danish O. To all non-Muslim friends, you may pray accordingly to your religion and belief. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Karim, Ya Wadu, we gather today to express our gratitude upon your severing of blessing and a great gift toward us. In conjunction with this program, we ask for your help and guidance. Ya Allah, please kindly give us strength and courage to face all the struggle and gain a wide range of knowledge. Kindly, please bestow us blessing, physical and spiritual health, fitness of mind, peace of mind, and strength of spirits. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, at this time, we beg you for the protection and safety for our community and country from the COVID-19 virus. Ya Allah, please bless us the strength for our frontliner and our leader to continue to serve for the people, society, nation, and religion in order to face the challenge of the COVID-19 outbreak. Ya Allah, please bless us with your taufiq and hidayah. Please guide Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and all the country around the globe to recover from COVID-19, if you will. Ya Allah, please make all our country that are blessed and free from the COVID-19 outbreak and damage it carry. Please bless us everlasting peace and prosperity at all the time. Ya Zajali wal Ikram, Ya Allah, at the same time, we beg you to help and protect the people of Palestine. Ya Allah, please ease their pain and suffering. They are striving for our religion. Ya Allah, bestower of mercy, please bestow your mercy on them. Ya Allah, Please always bless them with victories, strength, and good health to protect their people and land. Ya Allah, please bless us with the heart and intention to help them in this time of crisis. Ya Allah, in this honor discussion, please bless us with the success of this program, Intellect Unite. We beg you to honor our discussion, which hope that all the knowledge shared today will face us a better future in fighting against this pandemic. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa hati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin rabbil alamin.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you to Mr. Danishan for the beautiful recitation. Ladies and gentlemen, this program is held by the International and Foreign Affairs Department of College Ungku Omar, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. So, before we begin our discussion for today, let's get to know our respected panelists for today. First, our guest from Permitha Chulalongkorn University. I welcome Mr. Tri Yuda Putra. So, Mr. Yuda Putra, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Did all of the contestant or the audience hear my voice?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you?
Yeah, great as usual.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good to know. So we can see that Mr. Yuda is from Pekanbaru, Riau, Indonesia. So he is a first-year student studying Department of Mining and Petroleum Engineering. And he is now currently doing a lab research about clay effect to water flooding. So Mr. Yuda is currently in Bangkok, Thailand, even though he is from Indonesia. So interesting fact about Mr. Yuda is that online learning is quite challenging for him, but he will get through it. So thank you, Mr. Yuda. So next we have Mr. Ismail. Mr. Ismail, can you hear me? Hello, is Mr. Ismail there? Okay, let's check. Mr. Ismail. All right, so maybe Mr. Ismail is having some problem with the connection. So moving on, all the way from Indonesia, our guest from Universitas Airlangga, we have Ms. Zulfa Anida. So, hi, Ms. Zulfa, can you hear me?
Hello, yes, I can.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine too, thank you, Ms. Zulfa. You look great today.
It's been great.
All right, so as we all can see on the screen, so Ms. Zulfa is from Sidoarjo, East Java, Indonesia, and she is currently on her third year studying public health. She is the Directorate General of External Affairs, Airlangga Students Executive Board in Universitas Airlangga. So her topic of interest are public health issues, nutrition, health behavioral science, health politics, leadership, and policy innovation. All of us can't wait to hear from you, Ms. Zulfa. So thank you. And next from Universitas Airlangga, we also have Mr. Ramadan. Mr. Ramadan, can you hear me? Mr. Ramadan.
Ramadan was here.
I can see Mr. Ramadan here in our event. So are you able to reply? There he is.
Yeah. Hello?
Hi, Mr. Ramadan.
Yeah. Hello, Dennis.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
All right. Are you turning on your camera right now? Because I can't really see you.
Sorry. I can start my video because
Oh, I see. It's all right, no problem. So thank you for being here with us today. So let's see. So we can see that Mr. Ramadan Pambayong Halfani is from Surabaya, East Java, Indonesia, and he is in his third year studying political science. He is the Minister of External Affairs in the Airlangga Students Executive Board in Universitas Airlangga. So, Mr. Ramadan is an active college student. His topics of interest are geopolitics, practical politics, human resources, and public relations. His skills include a strong sense of leadership, social influence, analytical thinking and innovation, and public speaking. Besides that, his other experience are data analyst with a demonstrated history of working in the political organization industry. So we can see that Mr. Ramadan is a very interesting person right here. So thank you, Mr. Ramadan. And also, from the Student Council of Chulalongkorn University, I welcome Ms. Nirchpon. Ms. Nirchpon, how are you?
Hi, I'm Grace, and how about you?
I'm fine too. Thank you for asking. So thanks for being here today.
All right. Yeah, thank you for inviting us too. It's an honor for us to be here.
Thank you. It's our honor too. So you can see that Miss Nirchpon Palmi is from Nonthaburi, Thailand. She is in her third year studying Thai languages and literature, and she is the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Student Council of Chulalongkorn University. She is in charge of creating content for international students like us in Chulalongkorn Universities for their fan page, Chulalongkorn University Foreign Friends. So the club really sounded cute. So about the Thai culture and lifestyle. She also does proofreading for the Public Relations Office and Secretary of Student Council of Chulalongkorn University as well. So, wow, that's a bunch to handle. So thank you, Ms. Nirchpon. And also from the Student Council of Chulalongkorn University, we have Ms. Ravikan and Ms. Ravikan Amarachgul. Hi, Ms. Ravi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too. All right, so I can't really see you right now. Are you on your camera right now?
Yes. Can
right.
you?
Yeah, now I see you. All
okay.
Right. Okay, thanks. So, I'll call you Miss Ravi. All right. All right. So Miss Ravi here is from Bangkok, Thailand, and she's in her second year studying language and culture. Sorry. And she is the Vice President of Foreign Affairs Committee in the Student Council of Chulalongkorn University. And she is also in the operation team of Chulalongkorn Model United Nations Club 2020 to 2021 and a talent and meeting management of Chulalongkorn Model United Nations Conference 2021. Wow, that's really a lot of positions right there. Wow, you're very nice. All right. So she is currently obsessed with indoor house plants. Oh, okay. Indoor house plants. And if all of you have the same interest as her, please don't hesitate to talk to Ms. Ravi. Ms. Ravi, how many indoor house plants do you have?
Well, currently I have like 15, but planning to have more because of the pandemics. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's really nice. Well, if you can't really go out, so just like plant trees in the house and yeah, keep the oxygen there. All right, so thank you, Ms. Ravi. And last but not least, from National University of Malaysia, University Kebangsaan Malaysia itself, we have Miss Charina. Hi, Miss Cherry, can you hear me?
Hi, Dinesh. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you too. Wow, that's very typical of a video call chat. All right. So, Miss Charina, are you doing fine?
Yes, I'm doing fine.
What should I call you for short?
Oh, people call me Cherry, but you can call me Miss Charina. Anything you like, anything you're comfortable with.
Right. I'll call you Miss Cherry then. All right, so you can see that Miss Cherry here is from Kulim, Kedah, Malaysia, and she is in her first year studying forensic science. She is the head of marketing exco in the International Affairs Secretariat of College Ungku Omar. And we can see that Miss China is a growing social activist and enjoys working in a positive team environment, and also studies human interaction on social media and keeps up with the latest tea as a hobby. So, Miss Cherry, I hope that you got a lot of tea and that'll help you with your panel soon. All right. So, thank you, Miss Cherry. And also, from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, we have Miss Nur Koyum binti Muhammad Helmi. Hi, Miss Nur Koyum, can you hear me?
Hi, Danish. Yes, I can hear you.
Right. How are you, Miss Koyum?
Well, I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you. So you can see that Miss Koyum is also from our team. So she is from Sri Kembangan, Malaysia, and she is in her first year studying business administration. And she is also the committee member of Program Exco International Affairs Secretariat of College Ungku Omar. So Miss Koyum here loves to sleep and she loves to talk. And what's more interesting is that even though she's sleeping, she also can talk. So if any of you here need someone to talk to, please just don't hesitate to hit Miss Koyum up. All right. So thank you, Miss Koyum. Honorable guest, in early 2020 last year, a novel coronavirus was identified in Wuhan City, China. The virus is what now we all know as COVID-19. So the COVID-19 virus spreads primarily through droplets of saliva or discharge from the nose when an infected person coughs or sneezes. That's why we are supposed to wear masks. So most people infected with the COVID-19 virus will experience mild to moderate respiratory illness and recover without requiring special treatment. However, older people and those with underlying medical problems like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, chronic respiratory disease, and cancer are more likely to develop serious illness. On a global scale, COVID-19 has impacted us in many aspects, such as the livelihoods of our daily life, mental health, socio-economic, and much more. And these are the examples of the few topics that we're going to talk about in this event today. So firstly, I would like to ask our first panelist, Ms. Ravi, how would you describe COVID-19 as impacted you as a student, and in what terms? Please go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So I think I would like to maybe share my screen a little. We have prepared some slides. Can everyone see the slides right now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I will turn it into a presentation. Okay, so I would like to start off with like a general knowledge of what happened in Thailand currently about the COVID-19 situation. So I would say that in case of Thailand, it is one among the first countries where COVID-19 spread since the early of 2020, which is last year. And it has impact on various fields ranging from economics to into culturals, into like our daily life even. So, and recently it had actually came into the third wave of the spreading, which began roughly from the end of March and the early of April, which heavily impact the people. So to start off with the spreading, it actually came from this area in Bangkok, which is the capital city called Thong Lo. It is best known as the nightlife kind of area. So it is believed that this recent COVID-19 spreading has been caused here and by maybe the elites, which is believed to be so, but there's like some discussion to be, tackled. So from then up until now, in May, there are more than 10,000 cases a day, and to 26th of May, as an example. So you could see that the infected number is 45,256 infected cases and active cases already. So this number kind of includes those from the first and second wave and who are currently in the hospitals right now. So according to the Ministry of Health of Thailand, yesterday in terms of the daily infect, there are roughly like 3,000 up until 4,000 people. So this trend seems to be like increasing given that recent cases of the virus spreading in the prison as well as, in the slum. So where, social distancing is really hard to operate it. So I think Thailand's pandemic situation is going to like in the opposite directions of those developed countries, where majority of the people already received both doses of the vaccines already, and the life of people seem to there run back to normal where we don't have to like wear masks. Meanwhile, in Thailand, there are still disputes between about the vaccination that maybe it's not because of like people will untrust of the vaccines, but rather on the government itself in terms of the vaccination types and its effectiveness as well as the lack of effective management. So this all resulted in people not register for the vaccination, or some might want to but cannot process due to like the complication. So that's pretty much the overall picture of the COVID-19 situation in Thailand. And even, in the university, we are impacted by it. So right now we are like currently having an online studies and online e-learning right now. So I would like to suggest you that right now, like Chulalongkorn, we still have like temporarily closure of the office. So from then it was extended to May, but now it's like extended to the next month already. So it's quite impacted on us because the latest finals, we still not be able to study at the university. We didn't have to use the kind of the facilities given by the university. So it's really sad that this thing kind of impact our student daily lives. So in terms of, the life, one of the most obvious effects is that we have to change and transform in the working method. And as students, there are also problems in terms of mental and physical illness that we have become so depressed, and as well as our back pains. I think everyone can relate it to that. As well as we didn't have a chance to hang out with friends and socialize. So this resulted in maybe become like more isolated from people. And, this is really sad. And as well as there are also economics problems, such as the increasing of unemployment rate. This one is directly kind of affected my family's and personal life also. So this is quite really an impact that we had to look through in terms of the COVID-19. So these kind of like an impacts that led to like the questions in terms of the management of the government as well as the people's life in general. So that's kind of like what I wanted to say about the general impact. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Ravi.
Okay, let me stop sharing the screen.
All right.
All right.
So thank you, Ms. Ravi, for the very concise description of the impacts of COVID-19. So now we know that in Thailand, the third wave has just started since last March, spawned from a party fever. So I would like to use this chance to advise to all of you, please don't party right now. Just have some online party in your own room, in your own houses. So yeah, stay safe. And there are currently active cases, more than 45,000 cases, and are still increasing. So to all my Thai friends out there, please stay safe and maintain social distancing. And I also hope that the vaccination phase will be better in Thailand. We also can see that COVID-19 has impacted the students there, as online learning has to be continued, which leads to back pain, where all of us can relate to, and mental illnesses. Next, I'm also curious about how are things going for our friends in Indonesia. Next, I would like to ask Mr. Ramadan. Please tell us about the experience of COVID-19 in Indonesia. Please take it away. Mr. Ramadan, can you hear me?
Wait.
All right. Take your time.
Sorry guys, can you see my share screen?
Yes, we can, Mr. Ramadan.
Okay. Okay. Can I start right now?
Yes, Mr. Ramadan, you may start.
Thank you for Dennis. Before going any further, let me introduce myself. I'm an active college student in political science major at Airlangga University. You can call me Ramadan or Rama. And in addition, on this occasion, I didn't focus too much on discussing the emergence of new problems new problems in Indonesia when in the midst of COVID-19, such as the job creation bill, which invited controversy, namely like rancangan undang-undang Cipta Kerja, and then corruption in the ranks of advanced Indonesia, the cabinet, such as like Minister of Social Affairs and Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, and then the issue of assessing the national insight of the corruption eradication commission, namely like in Indonesia is KPK, Komisi Pemberantasan, because it is requires a deeper, takes a long time to explain. I will explain the improvement of social cohesion in the midst of a pandemic is suspected to be one of the pillars of Indonesia resilience. Okay. Okay. Sorry guys. The COVID-19 pandemic has turned the old order upside down and open new opportunities that we can never thought of before. It means that the state is faced with various new problems, but it is also required to continue innovate in the midst of a crisis that is still eroding various aspects of life. But apart from that, in the pandemic, Indonesia is one of the few countries capable of increasing its resilience in the face of pressures that cause the country to fail. The improvement of social cohesion in the midst of pandemic is
recording in progress.
Suspected to be one of the pillars of Indonesia resilience. The 20 and 21 Fragile State Index or FSI places Indonesia in 99 place out of 179 countries studied. The higher a country's ranking, the better the country's achievement. In FSI 20 and 21, Indonesia got a score of 67.6. Now, with this score, Indonesia is included in the 28.5% of countries whose scores have increased amid the exposure to COVID-19. In the FSI 20 and 21 report released in the United States, only 51 countries out of 179 countries were deemed to have increased their resilience to social, economic, and political pressure. The report states that within a decade, Indonesia was among the 10 countries with the most significant increase. This index assesses the resilience of a country from four aspects, such as social, economy, political, and cohesion. And thank you. This is my opening. Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Rama, for the wonderful sharing just now. So we can see that in Indonesia, one of the pillars of the Indonesia's resilience is the improvement of their social cohesion. And Indonesia is also one of the countries with significant improvements in a few aspects, such as political, economical, social, and cohesion. So that's a very good improvement, and that is something that all countries should be inspired by. Next, not forgetting about Permitha Chulalongkorn, I welcome Mr. Yuda Putra to share with us about his general insight on COVID-19 from a student's perspective. So, Mr. Yuda, can you hear me? Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I will share my screen first. Okay. Did anyone saw my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. First of all, I would like thanks to the event organizer Oasis and UKM, and first of all, I would like to make a permission to Kun Rawi and Kun Niru Chapon, yeah. Because I'm gonna talk about personal experience of me as a foreign student in Thailand, especially in Bangkok. So the first thing I need to talk is about the case. The case was usually in Thailand itself is like Kun Rawi talk is around 3,000 to 4,000 more, and this is the last the latest case of the COVID case, and the next thing I need to talk is about my experience as Indonesian that study in Bangkok. It's getting hard for me. I cannot read Thai, but I just know in this picture is from the Royal Thai Embassy announcement about how we need to how can we get entered to Thailand to get visa. But so even though you get vaccinated, or you still need to do like quarantine. So but we need the embassy need what is exact reason that you want to do if you want to go to Thai. So in this case, we need to like certificate of entry, or and I just know that if, one of the faculty said we need to get vaccinated to get to Thailand first. So this was what the impact. It's quite hard to get in the country itself, but hopefully we get because the determination that for me and for other students that already accept in Chulalongkorn was being pushed to like okay, I need to study in foreign country. I need to do more than I can. So this is one of the impact to get to the Thailand itself. So the next thing is like Kunra we talk about. Everything we do is online right now in Chulalongkorn. This is the newest announcement from the engineering faculty. From the 24th May to 13th June, we still do the online classes or online exam if you have already final exam right now. And it's kind of hard for me because I do the laboratory study, right? So all of the we can do the laboratory study right now if we have the specific like from our supervisor to do the laboratory research. But right now, because it's quite hard to do that, my supervisor said, okay, we just do the proposal first and something like that. And the next thing I want to talk about as a Muslim and live in the country, it's quite hard to do prayer right now, because I think most of the religion is have the same impact too. In this case, it say like we cannot do the Jamaah prayer right now, even though in the last month we do the Ramadan, right? We don't do any Tarawih at all because the third wave is already come, like Kun Rawi tell about. So it's quite impactful for me as a Muslim too, and it's kind of heartbreaking too. So hopefully we can get through this to the end. And the last thing is everything is online right now, and even though not just the online learning or online study, everything we do in Chula is right now is online. Like in this case, I will take an example like an open house. It's like an online tour of our faculty. In my department itself, we do like when before the third wave come, our department want us to like do the gathering, but the third wave come and we cannot do the gathering about the open house, and we do it in online. But that's okay. At least we know what is our professor do, what is our professor want us to do. His interest about what is the next project itself. So the open house is like a introduction to our department and the faculty itself. And talking about the COVID is for the student perspective. I already get vaccinated 2 days ago, and I think it's international student or the Chula student already have vaccinated, hopefully, and this is my first injection, and the next injection it should be on 17 June, and hopefully we can lower down the case for infected COVID-19 infected in Thailand itself. And as a student, why I'm bringing this one, because I always get hungry in the late of night. I don't know, is it me or just for you guys? So all of the convenience stores in Bangkok itself is closed in 11 p.m. So it's quite hard for me to get food in the middle of the night. So I need to prepare it in the morning or in the afternoon to do what I want to eat in the night. So sometimes I get hungry in the middle of the night when I'm doing my research, when I'm doing my proposal. So yeah, I think that was the impact for me as a student. I think that's all for me about the impact of the COVID itself as a student in Chulalongkorn University. So thank you, Danish. I can get to you again.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Yuda, for the very interesting story and sharing. So now that we understand that it's hard for students surviving on a foreign country during this pandemic, and we also know that students has to be vaccinated there. And in Thailand, the Jumaah or mass prayers are still not allowed. And Chulalongkorn University promotes online learning. And like Mr. Yuda just shown to us just now, you can see that there's the open house event where the university promote their courses and the faculty through online. So it's like a field trip, but through your screen. And I also hope that the COVID cases will continue to decrease after the vaccination phase there. And yes, as you said, all of us actually can relate as students. So like in Thailand, after 11 p.m., the shops are closed, and it's hard for Mr. Yuda to get food there, so that we have to like actually stock up and prepare for our food. And same goes to here. And all of us also like we have to stock up our food before 8 p.m. Like after 8 p.m., the shops are closed and we cannot order food online. So it's quite difficult for us. Like a few days ago, I actually woke up at 8 p.m. and I don't have any food, so that I have to eat anything that I have left, and it's quite frustrating actually. So I advise all of you to always keep your food stock in check. All right. So now, representing University Kebangsaan Malaysia, I would like to have Ms. Koyum to describe the impacts of COVID-19 from a student's point of view. Please take it away.
Thank you, moderator, for the question. Okay, so from my point of view, since the government imposed the Movement Control Order (MCO) in March 2020, it created quite some chaos to the students and their families. But since Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education, and institutions took fast action to shut down the institutions, and it has eased the students from panicking. At the time, I was in campus and our institution directed us to return home immediately. And there were still students that stuck at the campus since they did not have enough time to prepare to return home. So, this pandemic really impacted me and other students as we were having face to face learning and suddenly facing a sudden change, which is online learning. We did not have enough time to be ready for this kind of situation. It impacts the students' mental health too, as the workload that we get are more than what it used to be. I think all of us can relate where tons of assignments, quizzes, and tests are compact in a week, and it made the students stressed. So, other than that, in a conducted survey, it shows that 13% of the students delayed their graduation. Since during the MCO has so many changes that have been made to the academic calendar, and some students need to delay their graduation, such as the lower income students, in which 55% are more likely to delay their graduation than higher income students, as they don't have enough money to pay for the fees or need to help their parents to earn money. Of course, one of the most worrying issue is that 40% of the students lost a job or internship offer, since all companies are going downward and could not handle many employees all at once anymore. This is also shown by those who work as a part-timer while being a student, because we are getting fired from the job. This is a sad reality from all of us. But however, with the rise of the COVID-19 vaccine, like Mr. Yuda also have been vaccinated, right? So Malaysia rolled out a 3 phases vaccination program, which the first phase is for frontliners, second phase for high-risk groups, and third phase is for adults aged 18 and above, which are all of us, right? So the third phase is where the students will get vaccinated, in which in Malaysia, the booking slot for vaccination for this phase were open last Wednesday. Since there are still students at the campus, they are vulnerable to the virus. With the mass COVID-19 screening in Selangor, it is found that a majority of those between the ages 20 and 40 who tested positive were asymptomatic. This shows that it is a worrying situation if the students in campus did not get vaccinated, as they may be a carrier of COVID-19 virus while being with their friends. Well, I hope everyone can get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves from COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Koyum, for the very informative sharing just now. As we were informed, the sudden change from face-to-face learning to online learning has affected on the students' mental health, since the workload the students receive has increased a lot. And this puts a lot of stress on the students. Survey also shown that students have delayed graduation and lost job and internship offers due to COVID-19. Studies show that 13% of the students delayed their graduation, while lower income students are 55% more likely to delay their graduation than higher income students, and also a staggering 40% of the students lost job and internship offers. Luckily, The Malaysian government has rolled out a vaccination program, and currently we are on our third phase. So, since I can hear that most of our panelists has touched on mental health as an impact of COVID-19. So for the next session, we're going to talk about mental health. So this pandemic took over the mental health of all people, not only the students and teachers, but mostly the frontliners too, who were directly involved with the case every day, which kept increasing. It is normal for people to feel anxious and stressed, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. That's the fear of the disease, loneliness from social distancing, stress from online learning, and anxiety. Sorry, that's my alarm. And stress from online learning and anxiety about the economic shock and shrinking job market. So there's a lot of concerns regarding the mental health aspect due to COVID-19. Now, I'm curious about the impacts of COVID-19 towards the mental health of the students in Indonesia. I would like to ask Ms. Zulfa, what do you think regarding this issue? Please go ahead.
Okay. Let me show my slide. I'm sorry. Sorry, can you stop share? Okay. Can see my screen?
Yes, you're able to see your screen.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Zulfa. You can call me Zuzu. I'm a public health student at Airlangga University. After discussing general impact with Ramadan, in the second session, we will discuss about mental health condition of Indonesian students during pandemic. Indeed, all of us who are here, not only Indonesian students, will definitely feel the impact of the pandemic on learning activities on campus. One of which is change in different learning methods. This rapid change is what triggers change in ourselves, one of which is the emergence of stress. Stress is a human physiological reaction or response when faced with things that are felt to have exceeded the limit or are considered difficult to deal with it. Every human being has experience with stress, maybe even before we are born. This time, we look at a chart. Okay. We look at a chart that represents the condition of mental health in Indonesia through research conducted by the Faculty of Public Health, University of Indonesia. Through this chart, the stress rate on students in Indonesia during their distance lecture is on average 55.1%, while for students outside in Indonesia, it is 66.3%. Actually, in the same survey, there is an anxiety rate obtained by students in Indonesia during distance lectures by an average of 40%. While for students outside in Indonesia, it is 57.2%. Okay, we got a stress rate of 55.1% and an anxiety rate of 52%. The mental health problems that have increased during the pandemic are stress, anxiety, even depression. For students, this pandemic caused stress and anxiety related change in their lecture process and daily life. Next. Okay. You see a data table that shows stress level by gender in Indonesia. In terms of gender, more than 19 of both men and women experience serious academic stress. Women, 96 had higher stress level than men, 93%. Why are stress level higher in women? Because women don't have much exploratory space when compared to men. Women tend to be more anxious and more sensitive. In addition, stress conditions in women are influenced by the hormone and biological factor as supporting factors, so that women are more susceptible to stress condition. And next, here is the stress cause.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Furthermore, what causes stress in students? As I have said before, stress can be caused by change in climate causes academic stress. We all know online learning due to the COVID-19 pandemic is a new learning climate for students. This challenge is also happening quickly. This change that are too brief cause students to be confused with the application of an online learning system. It is found that students are mentally disturbed, stressed, and cannot follow the learning process properly. In addition, the difficulty in obtaining supporting facilities has also become stressful for some people. Academic stress has two components, namely academic stressor and reaction to academic stressor. Academic stressor has consists of 5 categories, namely frustration, conflict, change, and self-imposition reaction. Okay. And the response to stress is physically considered dangerous or threatening a person. This is like an active sympathetic nervous system which results in increased blood pressure, rapid heart rate, excessive sweat production, and narrowing of blood vessels. All this biological reaction will affect the hypothalamic pituitary adrenocortical, or we can call it HPA, to become active, and the body release stress hormones. Okay. Next. Okay. Then we as students who are aware that we have to help make other students aware to be more concerned about their mental health condition. The usually coping strategy is first, we have to give spirit of learning, high motivation to learn independently with continuous practice to gain knowledge and understanding of the material independently. Second, to familiarize literacy of technology, namely we have to change about literacy of technology, because like what happened to me at the beginning of implementing distance learning using Zoom meeting, I have never used this platform before, and I was also not given any instruction on how to use this platform and its features. So I learned by doing. I actually feel shocked because I was forced to be able to use new technology in such a short time, and I had impact on my learning. That is why liberation of technology is important, guys. Next, intrapersonal communication skill. This ability is needed by students in interacting with other students or lecturers as a form of social being, even though the only learning process is carried out independently. It is also a form of seeking help when we feel we are in trouble, whether it is in learning or in the process of understanding the lesson. Next is collaborate. Because it is necessary to establish an effective collaboration not only between students in online lecture forums, but also collaboration with lecturer and surrounding environment. And last, skill for independent students. This is a skillful independent learning ability that students must have during a pandemic, because students during the online learning process will seek, find, and conclude independently study material. Okay, that's all my explanation about the mental health of Indonesian students. I return it to the moderator.
So thank you, Ms. Zulfa, for the wonderful sharing just now. And I would like to say that you really did well for using Zoom. And that is very nice. So as Ms. Zulfa just shared with us, so we just heard something that is quite concerning, which is in Indonesia, there are more students which are stressed compared to those who are still resilient. And you can see the statistics that more female students are stressed academically compared to the male students. And just now, Ms. Zulfa gave us like some sort of science class, and I really enjoyed it. And me as a forensic science student do agree that the academic stressor includes frustration, conflict, and change, which all of us are experiencing, if not all, but most of us do experience that due to this pandemic. And the reactions to that stressor is the active sympathetic nervous system, the rapid heart rate, which keeps increasing, which makes us nervous, and blood vessels. Well, I don't know how to explain that, but you do get that. So mostly the coping strategy for the people who are stressed is mainly the motivation to keep learning. So in these hard times, we still have to motivate ourselves to keep studying, because no matter what happens, life still goes on. And next is the collaboration, which is the act of seeking help from others. So in this pandemic, we are not alone. We should seek help from other people, and we should also like support all the people around us so that all of us can make it through this pandemic together. And another coping strategy is the literacy towards technology. So in this pandemic, we cannot resort to our old traditional education studying methods and other methods of like working and such, so that we have to adapt ourselves in this new norm to continue our life. So next, what about in Thailand? I would like to hear from Mr. Ismail. Please share with us your thoughts on this. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. First of all, please just call me email instead of Mr. Ismail. I prefer to be not called as Mr. I would like to share my experience regarding, not really experience probably, because I also want to bring out some issues that probably missed out by the majority. I want to bring up the issue of mental health, of the gender and sexualized and sexual marginalized people, especially in Indonesia, regarding their mental health due to COVID. Also for the, as we know that during this pandemic, the social activity is limited in all of the countries. Well, for me, as the I just come to Thailand from Indonesia, and I see that some students, Indonesian students here in Indonesia, feel stressed because they cannot going back to home. They cannot meet their parents more easily than before COVID. Even some people can't go back home when they have some mournful issues like their parents or their relatives death. They cannot go back to join the funeral ceremony. That's some of the stressor probably for the Indonesian students here in Thailand. But back before I come to Thailand, Indonesia, I was working with the NGO with the with the gender and sexual marginalized people, or people, probably some people more familiar with the LGBTIQ term, LGBTIQ community. So for some part of people, they feeling stressed because they cannot build their parents or their family. But for some of the people, they feeling stressed instead because they meet their family for all time. When they're feeling that, especially for the people that can be accepted by their family, or the partners that have the toxic relationship. As we know that also some data show that the domestic violence is increasing during this pandemic due to the extensive hours of the meeting of the toxic partners, and also the cyberbullying also increasing during this pandemic because the excessive exposure to the media. As we know that there are some people also suffering from the mental health issues due to the excessive exposure to the media. Like, for example, they got more bullying from other people, or they got more exposure to the bad news or the sad news from the media. That also increased the mental health issues in all the people. And well, when I'm in Indonesia, we in my community, we are trying to reduce that. The effect of the mental health issues by doing some meditation together or yoga together to relax our body and mind. And also we try to connect with the people that we know that is more vulnerable to the mental health issues. So yeah, we're trying to help each other in the community to pass through this pandemic together. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
So thank you, Emil, for your point of view just now. So we can see that students studying in a foreign country are stressed as they cannot return to their home in this pandemic. And I can understand that, as when we are far from home, we do get homesick, and especially in these times, these hard times, we want to be close to our loved ones and our family, so that just in case anything happens, it won't be that as hard for us. And we can also see that foreign students are not able to return to attend to any of their families' problems or events such as family members' death, which is very stressing the students out. And besides that, increased time spent with toxic partners in toxic relationships or toxic family members will cause mental stress in this pandemic. And there's also cyberbullying, which still occurs in this era. And in this pandemic, where all of us are mostly using online platforms to like study and such, and all of us have increased time staying home and looking at our mobile phones. And the issue that cyberbullying is still here, that is very concerning, and it should be decreased, because cyberbullying is really bad and it causes mental illnesses for the people, and it just harms people. There's nothing good coming from it. We also see that in Indonesia, the people like in the community, they do meditation and yoga, and they help each other out so that all of them will feel better in this pandemic, which is a very, very comforting thing, I would say. All right. So next, I would like to hear from Miss Cherry. As a student yourself, what do you have to say about COVID-19 impacting your mental health? Please take it away.
Right. Thank you, Danish. To answer this, let me first give an insight to how our mental health is affected by the way our social lives have changed during these trying times. Now, ever since the government implemented Movement Control Order, MCO, in Malaysia, calling upon all individuals to practice social distancing, be it avoiding large crowded areas, mass gatherings, or to have any sort of close contact with at-risk individuals to prevent the virus's spread. However, this is at odds with the very nature of human beings as social creatures. Now, you see, the existence of human beings has always revolved around the connectivity to others, as people have evolved in such a way that they seek for human connection and affection. Thus, social distancing not only tests the capacity for human cooperation, but it also brings about various mental health implications such as fear, grief, anxiety, and depression. So here's how. Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive deeper into this topic, let me first define an important keyword that is not stressed enough in our society today. Stress is defined as a particular relationship between a person and the environment that the person considers to be taxing or exceeding his or her resources and putting their well-being at risk. Now, anxiety, unfortunately, is still undiagnosed and undertreated in a global context, and it is bad because it impairs focus, concentration, memory, and visual motor skills. Now, due to the temporary closure of education institutions all around the world, including Malaysia, we have established something called remote learning and teaching, ERTL or ODL, to prevent the virus spread among students. However, most university students are still facing difficulties concentrating on their studies and maintaining their mental health at the same time. Now, when you're in a long-term isolation, it strongly affects your mental health. Here, I present a statistic by the Malaysian government. They made several attempts to ease a student's financial burden. Now, despite that, distress call statistics received by the government agencies from March 25, 2020 till May 20 this year revealed that 85.5% of the calls were related to mental health issues that required emotional support and counseling. Malaysian Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adham Baba said that the causes identified are loss of employment, no source of income, family conflicts, interpersonal relationship problems, stigma, and lack of access to aid devices. In addition to that, according to a data from the Ministry of Health of Malaysia, found that in the period from January to December 2020, a total of 1,080, let me repeat, 1,080 cases of suicide attempts were reported to have received treatments at Ministry of Health hospitals. Now, being a student, I think we can all relate that we're always exhausted from catching up with assignments and quizzes, that we don't even have much time to pursue hobbies that benefits us in any way. It feels as though this pandemic has confiscated our youth, experience life in campus, and our social rhythm. Apart from that, here I'm going to present another data by the Women Aid Organization and Talian Kasih, which is a hotline created to help with mental turmoil, reported an increment of 44% and 57% respectively in context after the government issued NCO, for which domestic abuse is one of the reasons cited. Ladies and gentlemen, we must acknowledge that among us, among everyone that joined here today, there are many individuals that are already living in a pre-existing toxic home environment. Hence, spending more time at home could be extremely stressful and devastating. With that, the National Fire and Rescue Department Operations Director Nur Hisham Muhammad said that the youngest rescued from a suicide was a 15-year-old girl in Kelantan. Ladies and gentlemen, 15 years old is a very young age, and an age to begin to explore your life, experience new things. It is extremely devastating to think what must have been on her mind, that she has no other way out but thinking of taking her own life. Apart from that, students were also worried about whether or not they could continue their education due to the reduced income of the family. As you know, the current economic situation in Malaysia is crippling, and it can cause anxiety as students. They are students, parents, whoever, they are worried about there being another economic crisis that might compromise their future. Ladies and gentlemen, the Movement Control Order, also known as MCO, not only limits one environment outside in social activities, but one person's job status is also jeopardized. Numerous non-essential businesses are forced to come to a halt. What happens after that is that financial difficulties quickly set in, and many groups of
Excuse me, Miss Sherry?
I'm sorry, have I been muted the whole time?
No, just a while ago, a few sentences back. One sentence back.
All right. Okay, let me repeat that again. Now, what happens after that is that financial difficulties quickly set in, and many groups of the population, especially those in the bottom tier, B40, and the middle tier, M40 income category, they have already lost their source of income and are in the verge of termination. Now, despite the government stimulus packages that were developed to aid the financial burden faced by many citizens in Malaysia, many small and medium enterprises, also known as SMEs in Malaysia, can no longer sustain the financial burden that is brooding and has been resorting to cutting wages, reducing the number of employees, as well as providing unpaid leaves indefinitely due to the blooming uncertainty of the country's economic status. But fret not, I will elaborate on that in the next session. Now, for this session, going back, ladies and gentlemen, losing a job brings in feelings of uncertainty and insecurity, which eventually develops into a mental disorder, leading to feelings of anxiety and depression. The financial burden hitting the population in Malaysia could further escalate, with individuals coping by drinking alcohol and taking illicit substances, which then gives rise to multiple other disorders such as alcohol abuse, drug abuse, just to name a few. You see, having said all of that, there is absolutely no question that COVID-19 has had a profoundly devastating impact on us. Hence, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that is secretly fighting an uphill battle for staying strong during these trying times. I know that some of you are trying really hard to stay positive despite all the obstacles you face over and over again. I'm here to remind you that you are loved. I am proud of you, and I promise that you will pull through. With that said, I'll pass the session back to Danish. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. China, for the wonderful sharing just now and your kind words. So we can see that from a student's perspective, COVID-19 has given rise to a social distancing, which not only tests our capacity as humans for human cooperation, but it also brings various mental health implications such as fear, anxiety, grief, and depression. The stress call statistics revealed that 85.5% of the calls were related to mental health issues that required emotional support and counseling. And these causes will lead to impacts such as loss of employment, decreasing or almost zero source of income, family conflicts, interpersonal relationship conflicts, and many more. So as Ms. Chana just explained just now, the data from Minister of Health, MOH, reported that there were 1,080 cases of suicide attempts. So, ladies and gentlemen, 1,080. Usually when we heard of that number, we'll think of, 1,080, that's usually HD, stands for high definition. But as the way I can say it, it's HD stands for high def rates that could have happened. So that is very concerning, and all of us should take note on this and help each other out and look each other out so that no one gets left behind, and hopefully the number of suicide attempts will keep to decrease. Now, Ms. Nirchpon, as a student council, how do you think that the mental health of students were affected by COVID-19? Please share your opinion on this.
Thank you, and let me share my screen first. Okay, is it on the screen right now?
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, I would like to thank Sherry for those kind words. It really hits me inside of my heart because myself have been struggled with learning online, coping with it, and also the pandemic situation in Thailand is also I would like to say straightforward, is getting worse day by day, and I'm trying to find a hope in living in this pandemic. Yeah, and your kind words really give me hopes, and yeah, thank you very much for that. And yeah, as you can see in our age, like 18 to 24, we are the university student, and of course we find it's really hard time for us, even though it's not the pandemic, since we had a lot of assignments and examination and also some research. So of course we get nerve and stress easily. Yeah, and however, we cannot deny that the new normal lifestyle that we are currently facing right now is we have to adjust ourselves to this kind of pandemic, and we have to change our lifestyle completely, like suddenly, to what we have been doing before. For example, online learning and online examination, which brings a really hard time for us, for most of us. And this is like the drastic change within the less than a month, and we had to live with it like for almost 3 years now in Thailand, and we haven't getting ourselves prepared beforehand, and we have to live with it with no clues that when is it gonna end. Yeah, and studying in the bedroom, like as I am right now, I'm in the bedroom instead of classroom. It's like the thing for the university culture is one of the first thing that we have to adjust ourselves, and it's after that we have to adjust ourselves to wearing a mask to go anywhere. Yeah, and at first me and my friend, most of the student university, they think like, oh, that's cool, we don't have to get up, we don't have to wake up early to go to the campus. But later on, it's not, it's really exhausted to change our bedroom into the classroom. So this brings to the first topic that I want to discuss is about unhealthy work and life balance. And before the pandemic, we have the separation between home and university. At the university, at the campus, we have it is the place for learning, for studying, and we have to do the work. Even though we have some kind of homework or research to do it at home, but we know that home and bedroom is the place for relaxing. But now we are on the pandemic, so we have to studying online and we have to exam online, do everything online. So bedroom becoming classroom, so we don't have the actually bedroom for us to rest. And yeah, and so this is kind of thing that we can find a place for us to raise when we are stressed on anxiety for our student work, something like that. And yeah, so I find it's not strange that sometimes students leave when they are in a virtual classroom, since the virtual classroom is actually the bedroom, right? And yeah, and from the depression from the quarantine, yeah, some of the students have to stay at home, and like what email says, there are some toxic relationship with the people at the house, since we have to live with them like 24/7. And in Thailand, most of us live with the family, and yeah, we have some kind of mindset that, okay, if you're staying at home, that means you have fully free time, so you can run errands for me, like do the housework, do the house chores. Or maybe some of the parents suddenly come to their bedroom without knocking when they are have the online classroom. And that's a joke all around Thailand, but actually it's not a joke. We need like the privacy for us for studying, but most of the family culture cannot provide us that, and that's disturb the learning environment. And this can like go down worse when it's come to fight with the family, since we have to live together and they cannot provide us the privacy. And yeah, and then during the pandemic, we have the tension that other panelists have said before about the economic, and some of the family has lower income from the business, and it really affects on our tuition fee. Yeah, and some of them, some of the students have to work during the pandemic to find the money to afford the tuition fee. And yeah, and some of them live alone by themselves in the dormitory, and they cannot find another people to socialize. And you know what, humans are social animals, and we even though we are introverts or we don't like to talk with other people, but we have to communicate with people to contain our mental like healthy. And yeah, when we don't even though we have the technology like this, we have a video conference, we have video chat, we have text message, but we cannot touch the people, see the gestures or the facial expression face to face. And we cannot deny that we are longing for that. And yeah, even we see each other through the screen, and it's not like touching them, something like that, or maybe see them face to face really close, and it's like a learning in online. I believe that education on the campus is better than online learning, since we have face to face communicate with our lecturer, and the discussions with our friend will go easily than the online learning. It will not have the situation like over silence when the lecturer asks, okay, what are you gonna ask, or something like that, and everybody is like silence for 1 or 2 minutes. And yeah, and it will pursue like the studying environment better than the the online studying, yeah, and also the workload and the assignment for the university work will be harder since we are online learning. And I cannot deny that it is easier for the student to cheat on the exam, so the lecturer and the professor have to make the measurement to assure that they will not get cheat easily. So the assignment and the examination and workload is really hard than before, and it's caused the student to be more stressed since the grade is not easier than before. And yeah, and of course, before the pandemic, we are not get enough sleep from doing the homework. But after the pandemic, it's double than that since we have the videos like the clip that from the professor to watch, like to recap, and also the live session with the professor also, and also the research or something, because they don't see us face to face and they don't know our participation in the class, so they have to give us more work to ensure that we will have the good education during this online studying. And the last one, anxiety from overwhelming news and self questioning. This is really big topic because yeah, I think everybody's in our mind will be like, am I infected yet? Should I get vaccinated? If that vaccine is good enough for me, and if I get that vaccine, and if I get vaccinated, am I getting any side effects? Yeah, and every day, each and every day, the news announce that there are more people infected COVID-19, and it's getting near us day by day, and we don't know that as if we are getting infected or not. And yeah, and the variants and the new symptom of the COVID-19 is likely to be like the symptom of the fever. So when we cough or we sneeze, and we will think like that, oh my gosh, I got COVID-19, but yeah, but actually it's not, or something like it's getting us paranoid. Rather than that, we got the anxious and anxiety from like learning and studying for university, but we gotta get worried about our health. And yeah, because we don't want to be infected, or we don't want to infect anybody in our house. Since yeah, in Thailand there, as I mentioned before, we live in a family, most of them, and our family have grandparents, have their parents like elderly. We want to keep them safe, something like that. We want to live with them for a long time, right? Yeah, and yeah, and yeah, as Ravi said, and yeah, we do have the vaccine. We do have the vaccine from Chulalongkorn University, but I'm the one who refused to get it because I have the trust issue with the quality of the vaccine, and I'm waiting for the vaccine that are more promising than the one that government provide us from now. And I really hope that they will come up with some kind of new vaccine that will have less side effects. As now we have Sinovac, which isn't approved by the WHO, so I don't think that I will risk my life for it. And the second one is AstraZeneca. As you know, that it has a highly side effect for people in our age, like young adults, because it's more affected on the adult, like 40 age upper than that. Yeah, and day by day we receive the news like this. And me, for my personal, I don't get any vaccinated, so I have to keep myself quarantined in my house and don't go anywhere, which is very sad because I want to socialize with my friends. I want to go shopping with my friends, but I can't. And yeah, and they, all of my friends, they have a lot of workloads due to like the university closure, like the same situation as me. So we don't have much time to socialize with each other, even though we have like the contact and we can text them anyone, anywhere. Yeah, but we cannot because we have this kind of burden, like the student work, something like that. So it's really hard to socialize with my friend. And back to the dorm, some dormitory they close themselves down if there are some resident that infected, but they will not inform the they didn't inform the resident before they closed their dormitory. So it's like all of the residents in that dormitory, they will be quarantined without informed before, and it's like they they have seats their human right, like their liberty to go out, yeah, before they got informed. And some of the places, they don't provide much quality medication support, something like that. And I'm really jealous for all of you that you guys have the statistic about the mental issue, but I'm trying to find the research from Thai, but there is like, it's scarcely, I cannot see it one that they have like they have translated research from another university, like from in the States or from the China, but I don't see they do some that the government do some research on the mental health issue from the COVID-19 in Thailand itself. But the government come up with the what should I say, like the guideline for the citizens, like it's called the vaccine for your heart. Is it's embraced people in the village, like in the neighborhoods, to take care of each other, and I don't think that is quite effective. Yeah, but yeah, they have some hotline to call, but I've also tried once, but I cannot get connected to it. So I think our government should focus on the
Recording
mental
stopped.
health. Yeah, recording stop. Okay, I will go.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Like mental health should our government should focus on the mental health issue more than they are doing right now. And this is what I want to say. Thank you.
So thank you, Ms. Nurchpon, for very interesting insight just now. So as Ms. Nurchpon just said, this new norm has forced all of us to change our lifestyle from A to Z in all aspects, which are very energy draining. And studying in bedrooms has also been mentally exhausting to all the students here, since the bedrooms has not been just the place for us to just rest, but also for us to study and do our work. And in homes, in houses, I think that we should have better understanding between family members, so that our family members they can understand that we are studying as students and we are busy with our online classes and have to do our assignments and tests. And sometimes we hope their cooperation with us so that we can study and cope in this pandemic as well. And it can be seen that more students here prefer face-to-face learning compared to online learning, because online learning is more stressful due to the teaching and the learning method and the increasing tests and assignments and the workloads. So, and I also like to add that everyone has their own rights to be vaccinated or not, but please maintain social distancing so that all of us can together break the spreading of this COVID-19 virus. And just like Ms. Nurchpon mentioned just now, I think that the vaccine for your heart is actually quite a nice concept. And even though it is a nice approach, but it should be backed up with social distancing as well and vaccination, so that all of us can be well physically and emotionally and mentally. All right. So as all of our panelists have shared with us, we know that mental health is very crucial to us and how it is heavily affected due to the changes caused by COVID-19. Do you know that there are studies have shown that relationship between students' mental health and online learning? So online learning is the new method for everyone to continue education, whether from primary school, middle school, high school to universities. Online learning is the new norm for us to continue our learning while protecting us from the harms of COVID-19. Next, I would like to ask Ms. Zulfa, how would you describe online learning in Indonesia? And how do you think that online learning has taken a toll on the mental health? Please explain. Yeah, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dennis.
I'm sorry, Ms. Zulfa, can you be clearer? We can't really hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me clearly?
Not that clear yet.
How about this?
Yeah, better.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Yeah. Can you see my screen? Or
Yeah, we can.
Hello guys. So this is in session. In this session, we will discuss learning method that exist in Indonesia during the pandemic. Uh, okay. On this slide 1, we see some rules about learning during the pandemic, which were made by the Ministry of Education and Culture of the Republic of Indonesia. This policy made as firm as rapid action and responsive government of Indonesia in the past pandemic, especially in the education sector, so that all students can still learn as usual, even though there are several methods of learning change. All of our learning is done online, but if you look at the regulation of the Indonesian government, there are 3 types of zones that are grouped based on the number of COVID-19 cases in that place. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There are 3 types of, sorry, 4 types of zones that are grouped based on the number of COVID-19 cases in that place. Actually, there are opportunity of education institutions to conduct offline learning, but there are several aspects they have to they have to fill it to of education institutes to conduct offline learning, but there are several aspects that must be adhered to when they hold the offline learning. One of them is geography or zones. In Indonesia, there are 4 zones grouped based on cases in the region. The first is the safest zone. This is a green zone. The green zone is an area that has no more cases of coronavirus and there is no risk of transmission. The green zone also includes areas that have never been affected, including areas where there have been no increase in the addition of new cases in the last 4 weeks, and the cure rate this area reached 100%. The second there was the yellow zone. Yellow zone is the zone with low risk. In the zone is still no increase in new cases, but only a small amount. In addition, in the zone transmission is still possible. The third zone is orange zone. Orange zone. The orange zone is a zone that has relatively many COVID-19 cases. In the orange zone, there is a moderate risk in terms of transmission. This moderate risk zone is wider than in the yellow zone. And lastly, the most dangerous zone is red zone. Red zone are zone with the new cases that vary much when compared to the zone orange. In terms of transmission of its ascertain spread very quickly and is more dangerous when compared to the other zone. In the red zone, guys, not only are schools terminated, but all economic activity are also terminated. And the only school can doing offline learning activity is school in the green zone. The green zone in Indonesia consists of small area as well as in archipelagic area because the transmission rate tends to be 0 or there are no cases of transmission. But still, guys, apart from the prohibition that applies in the yellow, orange, and red zone. The face-to-face learning stage of educational unit is in the green zone are carried out based on the consideration of student abilities in applying health protocol. And if an increase in the number of cases is found, the zone status will change and the regulation will also change according to change in the status of the zone, including stopping learning and activity at school. And then boarding school in the green zone must implement learning from home and are prohibited from opening dormitories and face-to-face learning for the first 2 months. Next, okay, in this slide, there is a survey table that is still from the survey in the second session. Based on this data table, we can get information that the most widely used learning media in teaching and learning process during the COVID-19 pandemic is through the WhatsApp group, as many as 65.26%, or 186 respondents. The WhatsApp application is the most widely used as a learning medium because almost all students have this application in their gadget. In addition, WhatsApp is considered easy to operate and does not require a lot of internet data. The second table, we can know that only learning activity to be ineffective by 66% or 189 respondents and effective by 34% or 96 respondents. This opinion can arise because students feel heavy and difficult to understand the lecture lesson. Many students feel that face-to-face learning can make it easier for students to understand the lecture explanation. Things like this make students feel afraid of their academic progress, feeling of failing to achieve the expected target, so that it can trigger stress. The ineffectiveness of online learning is because students feel that their understanding of independent learning from reading material and assignment is unsatisfactory and difficult to make students understand. The high cost of buying internet quota, signal interference, there are lecture activity outside the proper hours, and the readiness of lecturers to prepare material and media in online learning. In previous research, it was stated that internet connection is the main thing in the online teaching and learning process, where if there is not adequate internet connection, there is no direct interaction between student and educator. Okay. Okay. Here is our recommendation about learning strategy. First is make learning asynchronous. Make learning asynchronous so that it can be studied at any time and does not force students to study and do assignment at the same time. Similarly as on campus, especially me as a medical student during a pandemic, we have a dynamic mode. So when we learn while being emotional or not in a good mood, that we cannot accept the learning while. So our lecturer create an asynchronous learning method to anticipate this. Second is educational institute or the Minister of Education provide supporting facilities in the form of equitable internet access, providing data package to support learning so that students are calm in learning. That's all of my explanation about learning in Indonesia. I return it to moderator.
So thank you, Ms. Zulfa, just now for your very informative sharing. That is very interesting. So we can see that in Indonesia, offline learning are allowed in the green zone, which is the safest zone compared to the other zones. And that WhatsApp group is the largest online learning platform in Indonesia among the students there. However, in Malaysia, Here we have used Google Classroom and Zoom, which are the most widely used. And in Indonesia, we can see that online learning are found more ineffective due to the unstable internet connection. And I think that applies to all of us here as well. So, all right, that was very interesting. Thank you. Next, I am curious about the online learning in Thailand and how has it affected the mental health of the people there? Mr. Yuda, can I have your opinion on this?
Yeah, so I will share my screen about this topic. Okay.
All right.
This one. So the online learning in Thailand itself, as accordingly with, it's so relatable that Kun Niru Chapan talk about it. It's so relatable to me especially, and this is my personal experience how to do the online learning in Thailand itself as a foreign student. So, and I will talk about this is only on my faculty, is engineering faculty. So in this case, yeah, we use the social media too, but it just about the schedule time and other. But usually we use like this website. This is my course field is developed. I don't know. I think it's developed by the faculty itself. I think all of the staff working hard for this one. So I will explain it briefly about this website. So in this case, we can register our course. In this case, this is my first year. So in this case, we can see this is my first semester and the second semester. This is all of my courses, and we need to register it. So our ajan or our professor will give us the code. I don't know if the other faculty use like this one, but for me is give the code and password, and we need to register it, and our professor or our agent will accept it, and we can do much in the website itself. I don't know, is it like a Google Classroom or not, but when I'm on the undergraduate student, the Google Classroom is not like this one, but I think this is more advanced. But I'm so grateful because this is from the start of my semester, I was, oh, okay, so we're doing the online learning, and I'm still in Indonesia in the first semester. So what we are gonna do, and okay, so I'm so grateful that the faculty itself developing the website for us, so it made us so easier to do the online learning like this one. But we still do a Zoom meeting, right? Or we do the Google Meet something. And in this case, let's I pick some example. What is the website will contain in the courses? So as we can see, this is the course material subject. This is the number, and in the first step, we can see that our professor we can do the all of the material that needed. So they don't share it in the WhatsApp group or in the line group. So they just put it, okay, I already put the material in the course field, and we can just see it. We can just download it, the material in this. And another tab is assignment. Assignment is mostly about assignment is about like a homework. But in this case, there's some professor that do the final exam. It's like it's quite hard for me. So they gave us like a quiz, and they put like a homework. So we need to do it by ourselves. So yeah, but I think for me it's quite okay for online learning. So we do like a homework, and we do it by ourselves. And the next thing is web resource, but usually we don't do this one. And there's a schedule. So in this schedule, we can integrate it Zoom into the website. So let's say, okay, our agent or our professor will do, okay, we do the class in 6 p.m. Saturday, and they will inform us in the line. But in the schedule tab, they will put the Zoom link, so they don't need to share it the Zoom link, and we just click it, and it will start auto recording, and it will do the rest. And in the discussion tab, if you have something to talk about to our professor, we can do it in here. And the portfolio is about the how our grade was. Is it okay or not? We can see it our grade in this tab. And other is like a student group is like we don't usually use this one, but I don't know if someone used to use it. But about the course is telling is the course what it's about, and there's some announcement. So if there activity in the 14 days, it will inform in these announcements in this specific course. So the next thing is about this. This is taken on the first semester of me. I'm still in Indonesia in this one. So I have I really like that our professor do like a I will talk it later, but some of professor do like a recording of the explain of the slide, and after that they will do the online class. If you want to ask something, you can ask, and I know our professor is quite hard to do like an online learning too. It's almost have the same struggle as the student too. As I don't know, I think the professor will have the same problem too. And for me is the way that our professor do is the more that I like is they give the recording of the course, and after that we will do the online meeting if you want to ask something, but they still explain it the slides again. So it's like a 2-time learning in the online learning class. So for me, I don't know. We can ask our professor to do. Okay, Ajan, can you record this material for me, and he will record it for me for us, and he will inform us in back into the website again. So there will be like a recording material in the website. So it's integrated. So I'm really grateful that we have the website itself. And like I said before, one of professor, but I think not one of, but mostly of the professor do like a recording of the presentation itself. So they will do the presentation, and we will listen it. And but most of them after they give us the recording, it's usually like 1 week before the class start. They will start uploading the recording, and we listen it, and the next week we come to that course. And if we want to talk about the course, we can do that. But still our professor still explain it as like a usual, explain it one by one. And for me, I think I know that our professor can do the recording, but usually I prefer to do record by myself. I don't know if you want to use OBS perhaps or something, but it's okay. We learn something new if we are doing. It's something have great and bad with the online learning, but just don't look at the negative part. Look at the positive part for me, and we can learn something new. We can get something new. But we can implement this in the future. Hopefully, the COVID not happen for a long time. And the last thing is about the final exam. Like I said before, some of professor do like assignment, like okay, you need to do this one in 3 hours, and sometimes do like it's quite hard. The question is quite hard for me, but some of professor need to do like a brainstorming. How can we do the presentation? How can we do the examination? So one of my professor do like interviewing. So they will ask like a random question from the easier into the hard part of our course. So in that case, it's quite shocking for me. But this is happened from the first year, so it start getting it start getting like a usual thing for me, like an interviewing exam. But I prefer the both of method, like you do the assignment in the 3 hour, 5 question, 3 hour, and I think one question took like a 2 sheet of paper, and the interview is quite fun too for me. So because we need to like I know learning is not about like remember stuff, but I think for engineering we need to remember something important in our course. So that was in this case I was like happy and grateful to have like a online learning method in Chulalongkorn. It was great. I'm and I'm really glad that we have like not just the social media thing to share it our question or sharing our topic or our material into the social media, but we can just use the 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 website that provide from the faculty itself. And I think that's all for me, and I will head back to the moderator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Yuda, for the very interesting presentation of your platform just now, so that we can see in Chulalongkorn University, the online learning platform that they use specifically made by the faculty of institution itself, such as course view, but they still have like simple video calls such as Zoom or Google Meet for online classes. And I would like to comment that course view has a very simple and clean user interface, and I hope it makes the online learning process for students as easy and efficient as possible. And for us students from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, I would like to add that we also have our own online learning platform, which is UKM Folio, and it is very simple to use and helps all the students to get our assignments and tests done. And as Mr. Yuda explained just now, it is important for us to remember that everything has its pros and cons, and there's nothing which is like constantly always better or worse. But I think that for us, especially in this pandemic, it's better for us to focus more on the positive side of things, while we tend to alert on the negative side of things. So moving on, University Kebangsaan Malaysia also has something to say regarding this matter. I welcome Ms. Koyum to share her thoughts on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Danish. Okay, so the pandemic COVID-19 occurs, and of course, one of the most affected group are the people in education. The coronavirus has made institutions go from offline mode to online mode. This crisis will make the institutions, which were earlier reluctant to change, to accept modern technology. This catastrophe will show us the lucrative side of online teaching and learning. Well, some people say that online learning is so much easier than face-to-face learning, but it's actually not true, as there are pros and cons in everything. At first, it was a big havoc as the sudden change been made. The ministry need to act and give the statement, since it's not only consisted of one university, but it involves the whole country. The lecturers also need to act fast because the students still need to learn as not to lagging behind the syllabus. The parents who have children that are still in school or any institutions are also affected by this, as they have to prepare the gadgets and internets for their children. Of course, we as the students didn't have enough time to prepare our mental state to keep pushing ourselves to study in this kind of situation. In my point of view as student, Malaysia is not well prepared for this kind of situation, which to evolve from face-to-face learning to online learning, since there are still problems in rural areas where the internet connection is unstable or just to have enough and suitable gadgets to have online learning. Well, for an example, there was a viral story in Malaysia of a student named Viviana Musibin from Sabah, Malaysia. She became viral as her video of climbing a tree and camping up there just to sit for her exam, since that's the only way to get access to the internet. Other than that, during online learning, we can see that it challenges both the lecturers and students to adapt with the online learning. This is because of lack of emotional support and motivation, since there is not much of practical activities. Like right now, we are doing the program virtually without any physical contact, right? So it's actually a bit hard because there's only you right now just in front of the laptop, right? So on the other hand, it was noticed that the students who were in their final year tended to have more difficulties adapting to and juggling with their graduation projects, year-end exams, online supervision meetings with their project supervisors or mentors, and online project presentations. Well, as we all know, each of our institutions takes initiative to help students for online learning. As UKM, they took the initiative to provide free mobile data plans such as Yes SIM card specifically for UKM students. It is just as simple as you apply, then they will be sent to your home. Then, other than that, UKM also provide laptops to the students in need. Thank you.
So thank you, Ms. Koyum, for the very interesting sharing just now. You can see that students in Malaysia are still not well prepared for online learning session due to issues such as unstable internet connection or lack of suitable gadgets. And I think all of us remember the once trending issue, a University Malaysia Sabah student, Viviana, had to climb up a tree to sit for her exams. So this raises concern, and this is an issue that we should focus on improving. Besides that, students and lecturers are also facing a hard time to adapt to this change due to the lack of emotional support from others. Furthermore, final year students also tend to have more difficulties since they have to juggle between their studies and their graduation project, which usually we call as FYP, final year projects, with online supervision. But fret not, University Kebangsaan Malaysia has taken the initiative to provide free mobile data plans such as Yes SIM card, and no, this is not a paid sponsorship, specifically for UKM students and providing laptop to students in need. Last but not least, I'm sure Ms. Ravi has her own perspective regarding online learning and its relationship with mental health. Ms. Ravi, please take it away.
Okay, so let me share the screen first. All right. So in terms of online learning, I would like to start off of how to actually Chulalongkorn adapted from offline onto the on-site onto the e-learning. As you know, Mr. Yuda has stated before, but I would like to maybe take it into like some of the broader views. So I would like to trace back to last year where the pandemic started and the university campus needed to be temporarily closed and move into like the online learning. So at first, I would describe it as a total chaos because we had such a difficulty in terms of like different professors and in terms of like the applications or the channel of communications. For example, some would like to use Zoom as the channel to communicate or Google Meets as a direct way to teaching. And other would use like, for example, Facebook, or they would record their lectures on YouTube. So this result in a lot of like miscommunication and struggle for students to follow up like courses materials. So although, the university had long depended on this program, it's actually different from, I think it's because of like, I learned in different faculty. Also, I am in arts. So in our faculty, we tend to use like this program called Blackboard. It's actually had been provided for us actually long before the pandemic has started, but it has proven to be really ineffective because there's an app on like your tablet that you can also use, but the app kind of clash a lot. So that is also like another struggle for us to study, and we have to like took some time to frequent ourselves into these new ways of like learning. So I would like to structure this kind of speech into like a pros and a cons of like this online learning that I have experienced, like personally experienced. So the pros, as you can see on the picture on the left side, this is Thailand pre-pandemics. So you would see that there's a lot of cars on the streets, and it's really busy. Like as a person that live kind of like on the outskirts of Bangkok, and Chulalongkorn is kind of situated in the heart of the city. So I usually have to get up really early in the morning in order to commute to the university. And this is some pros of like the online learning is everyone could agree that like we don't have to go through like this all of like a really congestion and the traffic in order to get into the university. So it's really convenient for us, because one of my friends actually have experienced being late in the examination day, and she actually got restricted from getting into the examination room, and like resulted in being dropped out from the class. So it's really serious in Thailand. So it's really is a pros for us now that we can just like wake up 5 minutes before class and just get to it. And on their second point is the flexibility for sleeping schedule. So I would say that, as I stated before, that you can just wake up 5 minutes before the class started. So that is really convenient for us to manage things. However, there is a drawbacks to that, but I would mention about it later. And the third one, or the last one, is less strict rules. So what I mean by rules in this case is that in Thai university, there's like this rules that is really strict, which is about uniforms. So every day that like in some faculties, you would have to wear uniforms to the faculty to learn every single day. So I would say that like when it turns into an online study, you no longer have to wear all those kind of like uniforms that might cost you even more money in order to study. So this is maybe another proof that the claim that people have been discussed a lot about the necessity of the uniforms. And so this is what I meant by the strict rules. However, I think that we all could agree on that there are more of like the negative sides or the negative impacts of this online learning on students more than the pros, because the first one is communicative struggles between professors and students. So for the first point, I stated in the beginning where there were struggles to contact our professors because there are so many platforms that we were like using. So this problem kind of like went on up until the second semester that we had been on online learning, even because there were particular professors, I wouldn't say all, but maybe some of them might be like a bit of low tech and they could not catch up with this kind of advancement. So they kind of makes things more complicated than usual, as well as the internet connections that might sometimes be off, and we could not. It's kind of like is an obstacle for us to actually receive our education. So that is linked to the second point, which is the lack of internet or essential online learning tools. So this is a really important things to look at, I would say, because even though like Chulalongkorn, they have provided essential tools such as the internet SIM cards or things like computer for particular students who really need those kind of stuff. But it is not quite enough, in my opinion. There is actually this news that was about this student who lived in a rural area of Thailand and did not have the internet service. So then like she couldn't reach the internet within her household. As a result, she had to went back in the middle of the yard with the sun, and in order to get the internet and to study. So this online learning is kind of reflected the economical gap within the society as well. Move on to the third point, it is increase in workload. I think this point is mentioned by many of the panelists already, because we can no longer dependent on the class assignments. So this resulted in more amount of work after the class. So what I have experienced was that there were no more on-time exams. Like you couldn't do that anymore, but there were more of the take-home exams that would require more of your analytic thoughts and all those kind of stuff. So it took more time in order to processing things and producing that paper out and got it for your professors and all those kind of stuff. As well as I also personally experienced the thing is, some of the professors, they might prefer of the recorded lectures. So sometimes they might go off tracks, because one of my professors, the classes actually is an 30-hour classes, but the records went on to almost 5 hours. I do not know how the professor done that, but we kind of, a lot of my friends kind of experience that when there are 1 hour lectures, recorded lectures, we kind of took more times, because we can pause, we can actually took a breaks, we can go to the bathroom. So we usually took more times. So I would say that increase in the workload in this case is really traumatizing us and really mentally exhausted. And the next one is new form of exam method. I think Nilashapan had mentioned it about it is harder to prevent the thing about cheating, because it is easier for the students to cheat in terms of online examinations. So this resulted in a lot of classes, they demand us to turn on the camera and the microphone while we doing that paper or in the final examinations. So there actually this case came up from the finance faculty, which is that when they turn on the microphone while they were doing the exam, it's kind of actually there were noise disturbance, which resulted in maybe ineffective or low quality when they're doing their paper or their final examination. So this is actually the students actually wanted to ask the professors to turn off the mic for the whole class. However, the professors kind of refused, and because they were really worried about the cheating and all those kind of unlawful or illegal misconducts. So that resulted in many discussion, and we have to actually go on because this online learning probably will continue on. So this is debated on the Chulalongkorn kind of society as well. So the last one is the thing that we had previously discussed about the mental illness as well as the physical illness. I think maybe it was Sofa that has really mentioned it and explained these points really well. And as stated earlier, mental health is really important, because we ended up in a home and we kind of stressed and overworked, as well as we received things like anxiety as well as poor time management. So this kind of resulted in our mental health being really decreased and depleted. This eventually would lead into our physical pain and illness. So as I stated earlier, because I am the one who experiences back pain as well as more serious cases such as overworking, which one of my friends actually ended up in the hospital. So this is a really, really concerning topic. So I would say that this is all I have to say about the online learning. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ravi, for very, very concise sharing just now. So we can see that in Chulalongkorn University, there are different lecturers who use various learning platforms such as the Blackboard, as Ms. Ravi mentioned, and this issue is stressing the students out. And Ms. Ravi also said that there are pros and cons of online learning, which the pros are there are less worries for commute, sleep schedule, and strict rules. Wow, the cons of online learning is slightly more than the pros, which is increased workload, communication issues between the lecturers and the students, and the lack of the internet connection and gadgets, and most importantly, physical and mental illness. So yeah, it's quite concerning. And respected guests, I would like to announce that we will be having a short break. Please refresh yourselves and make yourselves comfortable for the rest of the program. And I will see all of you in another 5 minutes.
There every time that I needed a shoulder, and you kept me warm. My world grew darker and colder. You gave me strength when I had gone, and I could not go on. Where were you when I heard the news? Where were you when I needed hope? Needed you close. You were by my side. Where were you? Where were you? You were by my side. Where were you? Where were you? You were by. Alright, kita sampai ke tadi. Tengok apa yang dari dalam. Tahu yang dari? Side up. Kita tengok apa yang ada di kau.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a program soon. Any ideas on how we should do it?
maybe we can